Welcome aboard to another episode of the Skeinz Diaries. Today's Thursday the 15th, and it is going to be my last diaries actually for a few weeks because I'm going to take a bit of time off over the school holidays with the three men in my life. And we're going to pop away somewhere. So that's yeah, get in and enjoy it now while you can. I think we're going to have peace and quiet in a lot of households with me disappearing for a couple of weeks. So that would be good. And as promised, I said on Monday I would catch up with you about a couple of ideas for the school holidays because, yeah, a number of you have children that will be at home, or you'll have grandchildren, or you may have children in your lives that you look after or have around at your place. And I just thought I'd bring out a few ideas of things that you could potentially do across that holiday period, which would be great for the kids, but doesn't necessarily need to be for the kids. It could be something you'd like to do for yourself. So I thought we'd talk about that this morning. I've also got some new product in as well, really exciting, some brand new product in, just in time for Mother's Day, and a new pattern release that I found out about earlier in the week in Southlander. So we're going to launch in. Good morning, morena, everybody. Pauline, Kate, Michelle, everyone's here this morning, so welcome, and welcome, good to have you along. First though, I'm going to kick off with Knit August Nights. I know I should be doing this on the Knit August Nights page, but I'm going to do it here. I have been working actually quite feverishly this week on getting that up. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that I will have the short descriptions for all the classes. If you check out knitaugustnights.co.nz, there is just short titles of what the classes are going to be in the tutors. I'm looking at getting those short descriptions published tomorrow. I'm just waiting for all the tutors to finish proofreading them before I publish them. And that will give you a good 2 weeks to go through and have a look at all of those classes and figure out what it is, if you're able to, if we can entice you over to attend Knit August Nights at the end of August, last weekend here in Napier. And if you are coming, it gives you a good opportunity to actually plan what your classes might be. If you want to know more information, make sure you go over and you join the Knit August Nights page on Facebook. I don't have a YouTube channel for Knit August Nights. I piggyback here if you're in YouTube, or the KAN, capital KAN 2021. If you pop that in, there's a group there and you can jump into that group, and I will be starting to push information out for that, for registrations which open May 1st 10 a.m. I can't even tell you, I think that's I've got a funny feeling that might be a Saturday or a Sunday this year, I think. So yes, so that is when that is all going to be happening. But I've pretty much got everything ready for registrations to open, so I'm quite excited about that. It will be so nice to have Knit August Nights back after not being able to have been had last year. All right, school holidays. You know, Ashfords are fantastic. Ashfords are great. Having and creating small kits and crafts which are brilliant to be able to keep kids occupied. Now, a little earlier this morning, my oldest son was here. Now, he's nearly 15, but he was here. We had an appointment with the orthodontist, you know, to straighten up the older teeth. And he arrived and sat down in the box, just arrived in from Ashfords with these here needle felting kits. And he picked this up and he was like, "Oh, what's this?" And I said, "It's a needle felting kit to make a seal." He was like, "Oh," and he pulled it out. And I mean, he was even quite fascinated about it. These kits are awesome. We got them in for Christmas and they were a smash hit. You guys love them. We had to put 3 orders in before Christmas because they kept selling out all the time. And the seal is one of the new ones that we've just got in. So we've now got the seal, we've got a penguin, we've got a tui, a pukeko, I think we've got the kiwi, there's a sheep kit, there's a butterfly, there's a brooch kit, there's a flower kit. And the best thing about all these kits is they come with everything that you need. So it's nice and simple. You don't have to have anything else at home. So each kit, this one here particularly for the seal, comes in with the instructions, the fibre that you need to make it, the felting foam, the felting needle, and cotton thread to finish off those little adorable whiskers. Look, Oh, so cute. So everything you need is here. And I just think Ashfords do these so incredibly well. And they're incredibly affordable too. And most of them are around, they average about $15. I think this guy's $15. A few of them are a wee bit cheaper. The sheep's a wee bit cheaper. But then you've got the brooch kit, which is a little bit more expensive. But they make wonderful crafty gifts if you've got people in your world that you want to give a gift to, and they're just great for kids. Really a fantastic. I mean, you could honestly kill a good chunk of a morning, afternoon, or a day making one of these. And I think they become quite addictive, and you want to just make them yourself. So we have got those all up. So they are on the Ashford page. So do go and check those out. Also on that Ashford page, we have got, we stock just the small sampler tubs of the Ashford dyes if you want to try a little bit of hand dyeing at home. Now, I know I've mentioned all of this before, but I'm going to just reiterate on a few things because playing around with hand dyeing at home is such a fun thing to do, and so many of us doing it. We don't need to do it for school holidays, we can just do it for ourselves. So we have the Ashford dyes at home, but most of us actually start out experimenting just by using food colorings, cordials, so sachets. So I know Kool-Aid, if you've in the US, is very, very popular. We have one here called Thrifty. I know people that have played around dyeing with Thrifty. I've just used regular old food coloring before in the past. And the nice thing about playing when you're wanting to start out and have a little play with all of this, and especially if you're using microwave dyeing method, is that when you're using food products like food coloring or cordials and the like, you've got the safety of all of that. So obviously you're using food grade products, so you've got no issues around safety. There's also natural products as well. If you're going to dive down the mordant path, there's a little bit more involved there. But it is, again, a really satisfying thing to do. Years ago, absolutely years ago, and in fact, if we even dig out an old Skeinz blog, I did actually go through and do this once. I thought, right, I'm going to take a whole bunch of fibre home and just play around with food colouring and microwaves and just see what you can achieve. And I am amazed at what incredible results that you can get just by the simplest steps at home. So but we do also have the Ashford dyes as well. So do check out the links that we have on our Ashford dyes, because in there is a video tutorial link also. Ashford do a great video tutorial around dyeing at home, but also there are plenty of other tutorials on YouTube on what will work best for you in the situation that you're in. So the next question is yarn. And you may have noticed on Monday I sent out on the newsletter, we have now started, we've gone and released our merino 4-ply nylon sock, which is our most popular selling finer weight naked yarn, and our naked machine washable DK have now both been we're just going to see how it goes. We've just released these for single skein sales, and we've gone and done that for those who are wanting to test out a little bit of dyeing and you're wanting to not buy an entire kilo or an entire packet, so to really just play around. But also too, for people who are wanting to dye specifically for a project and you're not wanting to, you don't need a kilo, you may only need 3 or 4 of these and you just want to dye to a specific amount. So it is only for a trial period. It may not stay, but if you guys love it, we'll keep it. So those are the 2 that have already gone up. So I let you know about. These are 100-gram skeins. I know now you're going to ask me how much they are. One of them is $12 and the other one is $7. Yeah, there we go. $7 for the DK, $12 for the merino. So those are now available. But you don't have to necessarily use these. You probably don't realize that a lot of naked undyed yarns are hiding in plain sight. Now I've just gone and pulled a selection out from the store here. You may already have some of these in stash. And the first 2 I'm going to show you, because I know a heap of you have these in stash. Southlander cream. If you've got Southlander cream at home, this is undyed, untreated New Zealand mid-micron yarn. This stuff is fantastic for dyeing, great for testing it out. And obviously you can see that this is in a ball. If you were wanting to do some natural dyeing, so you were wanting to dye naturally, so long soaking, using a mordant, playing around with leaves or lichens, or you have been religiously saving avocado pits since time immemorial, onion skins, whatever sets your world on fire from a natural dye perspective, Southlander is a really, really great yarn to consider because it hasn't been shrink treated. It is pretty much, it's about as unprocessed in a natural yarn that we can give you. And we have both, currently at the moment, we've got cream available in 12 ply bulky and the sport weight, sort of 4 ply, twofold sport weight. Now, these are 100 grams for the 4 ply and 200 grams for the bulky, so it's a decent sized skein. Now, you do need to obviously unravel that skein into a hank in order to make it easier for you to dye. One of the simplest ways, obviously, is to wind it around a shoulder, which gives you a very short, nuggety hank. That will still work. But if you happen to have one of these at home, go on, pop quiz for you guys in the comments. What is this? This is my favourite piece of spinning equipment. It's got the best name ever. I love it. I've got a few of these actually. Ashfords do these too. We don't sell these from them, but if you quite often will come across these at op shops. I think I bought this one at an op shop for like 50 cents, and I can't even remember what they were selling it as. I think they were selling it as a tie rack or something. They didn't know what it was. Niddy noddy, look at you guys. Yeah, you guys know what it is. A niddy noddy. This is what this is. And these are basically, these are skein makers. And usually you would take this when you're taking your yarn off your bobbin after you've plied your yarn back, and you would unwind it off to the bobbin onto this niddy noddy to create a hank. And you sort of create this like almost like a sandwiched V over these prongs, and you then wash it and set it, and you have it looking fantastic. But you can use a niddy noddy to skein out ball yarn as well. So if you happen to have one of these, like, so I know people that would have been given these like in a clear out, and you probably had it sitting there going, it looks kind of, but I have no idea what it's for. And as you can see, it'd be relatively straightforward to erect one yourselves. That's what that's for. So you can actually do that with those yarns. And there are so many other yarns that you may already have in stash you could play around with. So those are those 2 and 100 gram balls. The other 100 gram ball is the warm 14 ply. I'm going to talk about this one a little bit more often. Then you've also got Perindale cream. So I know we don't have Southlander DK at the moment in cream, but we do have Perindale cream, and this is next to close as Southlander. So we have got Perindale. So this is spun to the same count as Southlander cream, but it's breed specific. So whereas our Southlander is crossbred or it could be anything to that micron, Perindale is 100% Perindale. The other 2 yarns, and I'm knitting with this one at the moment, is our vintage broad in eggshell. So this is vintage undyed. This is a great yarn if you're wanting to play around with some undyed yarns. Also flight merino. This is swan. I think it's swan. It's dove. So this one, but this one is undyed. Also Urban Deluxe is undyed. So Urban Deluxe is essentially the machine washable DK, but in ball format. But if you've got any of these lurking around in your stash, and actually Louise, I just saw, she just popped up, Louise has dyed, I know, a lot of oatmeal Southlander because I've seen it, it looks fabulous. If you've also got the oatmeal Southlander or the silver, you can dye over that, looks amazing. If you're feeling really adventurous, sock petition milk, that's what we dye over for that. And if you've got the bracken in Southlander, this is what we dye over to get these colours in Southlander. So there's lots of ways that you can play around. I mean, don't think that you have to buy yarn in this format in order to give dyeing a go. I mean, you've probably got everything that you need at home to get you started. And honestly, if you've got kids coming over, they get landed on you, you haven't had a chance to get stuff in to do stuff, dive into stash of what you've got. Anything like this that is remotely cream or even white, or as we said, sort of more natural style, grab those out, skein them all off. Chatswood, yes, there we go. Pip's just mentioned Chatswood Sheffield. Yes, Chatswood Sheffield is undyed. That's another perfect one as well. Grab those up, create your hanks, and then give it a go. You know, if you've got food colouring in the pantry, and or some really garish coloured, like as I said, we had thrifty cordial in our house, and so that comes like in a green and orange and a purple and a berry. So, you know, have fun with it, and you know, see what you can create, and have a look at some of those tutorials as well. As I said, the Ashford tutorial is using their dyes is particularly good, but I honestly did how to dye yarn at home using a microwave and food colouring or Kool-Aid, and videos crop up on YouTube. Find the method that works for you and just experiment. Have some fun. Have some fun. And the beautiful thing about that is then you can afterwards have a play around and see what it is that you can potentially knit or make with your dyed yarn when it's finished. So that's in terms of playing around with yarns that are undyed. Now, I mentioned this before. This yarn here, Warm for us, started out as a yarn that we have been making for a very long time. It's a standard chunky, and this yarn is the yarn that we had always made for the Steiner schools, actually, and they use this yarn as part of their handwork. They have knitting and handwork as part of their curriculum. So we'd often do this yarn for them in bulk lots, and now they tend to just bite down like this because this works fabulously for them. Now, Warm is great if you're at the stage where you're actually wanting to sit down and teach someone how to knit, and it may not be necessarily be a child. It could actually be an adult. These are sort of my tips in terms of teaching someone to get started with knitting. I actually taught an adult recently last year, and I did it all remotely. I didn't actually physically get to meet them until months after they'd learned, but it's amazing what you can do on video calls and messages backwards and forwards and sharing YouTube links of what's out there. But if you've got someone in your life that you want to sit down with over the next little bit to show how to knit, anyone that comes in here wanting to learn, this is the yarn that I go and grab. And you say to yourself, oh, okay, why do you do that? And the reason for that is that I just find that this 14 ply is just the right thickness to get people started. You could go actually for our batch 12 ply, 1/2 dozen, but Warm for me is the one. And I know Steiner use it for this reason as well, because when you're dealing with learning how to knit, part of the difficulty is how to hold your needles, what's comfortable for you, playing and working with the yarn. And a lot of it is actually just repetition, practice, and muscle memory. So when it comes to teaching people how to knit, I take what I call the Karate Kid wax on, wax off approach to knitting. So this is how I've always taught it. And I always start with teaching somebody knit stitch. So depending on how their brains are wired, and I find now that someone who's more plugged into the digital generation, I will pull up, there are 1,000,001 videos on how to do knit stitch on YouTube. So I'm not going to bother doing one, because why do I need to? You find one of those, but if you're with somebody, you can have the video up and be with them at the same time, so then they can actually both watch the screen and do it themselves. And you will find, if you're teaching anybody who is of a certain age, generally sub 30, they're very, very comfortable learning in that format. Whereas for me, sitting in front of a screen trying to figure something out, I'd be like, huh, what? I'm old school, but you know, anyone that I've taught younger than that, it's amazing how quickly they'll pick it up. And you can get them started with basic cast-ons, even if it's just with a backward loop, or even if you cast on for them, which is what I did for the person that I taught, and just got them doing knit stitch. Now, everybody, I'm sure, has a rhyme on how to remember to do knit stitch. For me, it was through the hole from front to back, round the pole, through round the pole, through the hole, off you go. That's what I have. But everywhere, I think there's runs for rabbits. There's all sorts of little rhymes to remember what it is that you need to do with your yarn. But warm, I find, from a tactile perspective, is a really easy one to work with and get them started with. We have these wooden needles. I find these are great because they are easy to hold. They're a little bit grippier. Sorry, the crunchy crunch. They're a little bit grippier than what a lot of people often will have at home. So if you've got bamboo or wooden needles, I find they're quite good to start because you do need something with a bit of grip. If you've got a steel needle at home or even a plastic needle, sometimes they can be a little bit slippery. You want something with a little bit more traction there just to help a beginner hold their stitches where they need to be. And also too, they've got quite a nice little point on them as well, which is quite good for getting things moving through. When it comes to using warm, I've just pulled a 6mm needle out here in the yarn. You could, again, you don't have to rush out and buy these needles. I am sure that you will have something at home. If you do, 6mm, 6.5mm, 7mm, any of those are fine. Don't sweat the small stuff on this at this stage. It's just about getting through the process of doing knit stitch again and again and again and again. This is a pattern that I do, and I get everyone to cast on the same pattern and I get them started. 30 stitches onto a straight needle, 14 ply yarn. And then they are just going back, knit stitch, and they just keep going until the ball is completed. That's it. And then we're almost completed, and then you can do a cast off or a bind off at the end. And again, you could potentially do that for them, or you can show them how to do that. Then that gives you a strip about, there we go, about yo long and about yo wide. You bring the pieces round, you sew that seam, and then what you have is a garter stitch cowl. And now the two really good things about this is, one is you should see an improvement of progression from the beginning to the end. That's kind of fun. But it also means that the very, very, very first project is a completed, useful project that they are able to use. You will be amazed at what you can do with basic garter stitch strips. That is the first one that you can do. Also with 30 stitches cast on, if you cast on 30 stitches and actually measure, keep knitting until it will basically wrap round your forearm and wrist, with a 30 stitch width, you then seam up sort of about 2/3, probably up to halfway on one side, leave a gap, then stitch the final quarter, leave a gap for the thumb, and you've got a garter stitch fingerless mitt. That's really, and you should be able to get a pair of mitts out of a single ball. The trick with this is it means that whoever you're teaching is actually getting usable projects at the end of it that they can feel proud of, and you're getting completion. And they need to be small and simple. And honestly, the young man that I taught how to knit recently, he completed probably 6 projects, all just doing garter stitch. And then he finally said to me, "Marie, I really do kind of want a purl now." I was like, "Cool, let's purl." We found a video, and because he had done so much knit stitch and he'd held those needles, he'd improved his speed, he'd gotten his technique better, because when you've seen it, you're all sort of like this and tight, but over time, at muscle memory, and you begin to relax into your shoulders and you sit back and you get faster. When he sat down to do purl stitch, he literally sat down and purl stitch happened like that, because the muscle memory is there. So that is why I do it on a wax on, wax off approach. Only ever worry about one stitch. And of course, when you're going to cast on, you can do cable cast on, which is a knitted on cast on. You can do a straight knitted off bind off, so you're still only ever doing knit stitch. And it's just a way to get those really, really basic skills for someone, and they've got completed projects at the end of it. So often I've seen people launch in thinking they're going to knit a lovely big long scarf, and they just die of boredom, because scarves are yarn hungry, and they need a lot to be completed. So that's my advice if you're going to sit down and teach someone how to knit. 14 ply or 12 ply yarn, set of straight needles at home, anywhere 6 millimeters, 6.5 to 7 millimeter. Don't be too panicked. If it's a 12 ply, even a 5.5, just whatever you've got. Wooden and bamboo are best, or plastic work quite well, but you want something with a little bit of grip. 30 stitches cast on, and go for it. You can even, with 30 stitches cast on, seriously, you can even play around. You can Mobius them. You can even with garter stitch, you could even do 30 stitches cast on. Think about it, going back around the other way. You can even play around it and do a basic hat. There is so much that you can do. You might need to cast on more, but there is a whole load of things that you can do just doing that one little simple technique. So that's my advice for getting someone, teaching people how to knit over the school holidays. Right, next on my list. While we're actually on the yarn, we're going to jump in to do this now. Southlander, isn't that gorgeous? Bulky. Oh, fave. So I got an email on Monday from Cheryl Beckeridge. I don't know whether she's in today. She does pop in here from time to time. Cheryl is over in the US, and she is Wise Owl Knits. I know a number of you have checked out Cheryl's designs. We have got a couple of her designs actually as samples here in the shop, because she is one of the main designers with Brain Engage Cascade Yarns. So you may have actually knitted a pattern of Cheryl's and not realised it. She does do a lot of designing for them. But she is also Wise Owl Knits, and I'm going to pop this up in the stream here, and I'm going to make myself nice and little. Here she is here. And she sent me a look. Now this will look familiar. She sent me an email earlier this week to let me know of her new pattern that has been released, and she has done it in Southlander Bulky, and it is a cabled swan show. I just utterly love this. I'm going to see if I can. Oh yes, look! Don't you love technology? Is it going to let me? Oh, I think that's probably, there we go. Look at that. I hope you guys are able to see that okay. Oh, yes, you are. Good. Okay. So this is her new design, this fabulous cabled swan show. And Cheryl, it's really evil, because, of course, I'm rocking along with my Aran at the moment. And I'm sorry I haven't brought it in today to show you. I'm literally only about 4 or 6 rows away from starting my armhole shaping on the back. And I'm just loving it. I'm being totally monogamous to it. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. So that's where I'm at. And I'm just right on this huge cabling and Aran jag at the moment. It's just everything I want to knit wants twisted stitches in it. And I just love this. I've absolutely fallen in love with it. I'm going to run through, look at that. With some double mossing through here, a gorgeous central spine, and these fantastic intertwining rope cables through here. I just adore it. So, and I think I saw the lovely Dell was in chat. Don't be, actually, I'll be probably giving you a holler, Dell. I think we have to have one of these samples in the shop. Anyway, where was I? Just utterly gorgeous. She's also done one, here we go, in the bracken as well. It's just, I think it's just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And it looks really wearable. Oh, look at this. Look. Oh, fabulous. So Cheryl, I just thank you so much for sharing that with us this week. I'm just super excited about that. So I'm going to get a copy of the pattern, and I'll get it out in the newsletter. If it's not a news, probably won't be newsletter today necessarily. It will most likely be a newsletter whilst I'm away. I'm going to try and be good and get some newsletters scheduled for you, so you've got information coming through. But that, I just think for us now, heading into our winter season, if you've got, I know some of you may actually have Southlander in stash, and also the batch 12 ply would be amazing in that design. Yeah, it's just, I'm loving working with this coming into this time of year. I mean, I did the chikers last year. I did 2 chikers in very quick succession. I also did, what else did I do as well as the chikers? Brain fart. I know that Heather, she did a ranunculus, would you believe, in 12 ply bulky. It looked amazing. So there, yes, absolutely adoring it. So this is definitely going to add to the colour. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. And using our yarn. It's wonderful. I'm just, can't wait. This is so bad because I already had my next project picked out that I was going to do, but I can sort of see that I'm going to have to slip this one in between my poor husband because the next one's for him. Anywho, what's next on my list? This is next on my list. Mother's Day. I know, where's that? That's only about 3 weeks away, isn't it? And what I mean, you may want to buy something for a knitting mother. You may need to make suggestions for Mother's Day for people in your life of things that you want. So we have been to our great friends at Knit Pro and we have gotten in more sets. We've been asked for more sets. Oh, in fact, let me have a little look and I'll see if they are loaded. Let's have a look here. Hold the phone, caller. Where am I looking? Where am I looking, Marie? That's where I'm looking. Claire was madly doing these before I headed out. Bless her heart. That'll be on page 2 probably. Poor Knit Pro have been they've been like all of us, just absolutely having to catch up with trying to get containers and stock in. It's been a real challenge, but they had a big lot of stuff through just recently, and in these, there they all are. Right, let's see if I can get these up for you. Da, 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 da. There we go. Right. Boom. Okay, I'm going to put these in there. There we are. And I'm going to make me little, hopefully we don't get the blue screen of death. So we have got these new sets placed up and we have, so we've got the, why is it not showing there? Okay, there will be more that comes up. The rest of them will be there. They will be there, I promise. So we've got the interchangeable needle set in the Novas that we've had before, but we've also gotten in a new, the Symphony set rather, that we've always had. The Knit Pro Wave hook set we've always had, but we've now got these new Zing sets in, and I'm going to show those to you. So this is it here, and that awful cellophane, I know. But these sets are great. I mean, many of you I know, will you be getting any Knit Pro Symphony Cubic Circular? Shivani, no, is the short answer to that. It's one of those ones that it's a difficult, I know the ones that you're talking about. No, we probably won't. They're ones that have a very niche love. We are able to access them, but no, not at this stage. But this is the Zing set here. So it comes in this fantastic, almost book-size case. And these needle sets are great. I find these needle sets are a great way for traveling, but having all your circulars together. Susan Hagedorn has been at me to get Zings in because she loves them, and we hadn't actually got them in regular interchangeables. If you're asking, well, we have them in interchangeables. The only reason we haven't done that is they haven't had the stocks available to do it. They had just so popular that as soon as they get them in, they fly out. But they did have these sets. So we've got that Zing set in. Oh, and I didn't tell you what it went up to. Sorry, guys. So it's got all the cables, everything you need there. And these start at 3.5, 4, 4.55, 5.5, 6, 7, and 8. So, which is pretty much the usual suspects. So that is there and available. Now that one will be, I think it's 119 or 119.95. So that is a really fantastic price for those. So those are, oh, there we go, I managed to get that back in there. So that is the Zing one. And this is the other new one that we got. And we've never done a set like this. This one is $199. And this is the Symphony Rosewood. And it's, oh yes, oh, have I got this round the wrong way? So this is it here, the Symphony Rosewood. And this is something really special. Look at that. And those are all rosewood needles, utterly beautiful. And then this little insert lifts up. And you've got all your accessories in the back there. You've also got your cables are all limited edition as well and colour coordinated, as well as a shawl pin, a rosewood shawl pin, which goes in there. And you've also got a knitting gauge, and you've got these little extenders as well, which are in there too. So that is a gorgeous set. If you've not knitted with rosewood before, rosewood is amazing. It's so beautiful to knit with. Who remembers the Lantern Moon needles? They were available many years ago. I had a lot of when I just knit straights. This is before I even went circular. I used to love. I had a couple of pairs of Lantern Moons that I adored. Very similar wood to those, stone. So these, this is getting loaded up $199. For those as well. So whether you're wanting to treat yourself or you're wanting to, if you've got a gift for someone special, those are going to be all loaded up and ready to go. And don't forget, if we've got lay-by, so as in the facility lay-by, not, lay-by, you know what I mean. So we've only got that online, but if you are a lay-by customer, you can actually use lay-by, and then you can spread the payments for those out over 6 weeks. So we do accept that as well. So we're really excited to have those. So those are all so I will make sure that I get those up for you to snap up and enjoy. Now, I'll just make sure I haven't missed any questions while I've been rabbiting on. Oh, Heather's just saying she loves the zigzag book display in the background. Looks like lightning. Yeah, it's the girls. They did that. I'll tell you what, we had plenty of lightning here yesterday. We had quite the thunderstorm yesterday. It was full on, absolutely full on. And it sounds like the subtitles are playing tricks again, are they, for me today? Oh dear. Hey, look, at least I try and entertain you. I try to entertain you. That's so funny. Right. What sizes? Yes, Yvonne. Yvonne's wanting to know what sizes are in the rosewood needles. Actually, Yvonne, that is a very good question, Yvonne. There's more in here. They start. Oh no, it's about the same. No, it's the same. 3.5, 4, 4.5, 5, 5.5, 6, 7, and 8. That's what's in there. Very good. And we've also got all our regular Symphony interchangeables. We've had all those have been stocked up as well, so we've got plenty of stock of them. So they're there, and I'm also sending off the beechwood needles, the beechwood straights. I know you guys are absolutely really loving those. So I'm about to send an email off to our supplier of those, and we're going to get a whole heap more in the full range of sizes, some DPNs. I'm going to get some more of those in too, because I'm knitting my Aran project on it. I've given myself the challenge to basically just do the whole thing on straights, and I just can't wait, and I'm really loving it and really enjoying it, so I'm going to get those in as well. Michelle, can you buy the smaller tips separately? They're not, we haven't found them in the catalogue listed separately, so I wonder whether it's something that they only do for interchangeable sets. Yeah, it's a short answer to that. So yeah, no, it's funny too, and actually Eddie do the same as well. Like I've got an Eddie. See, I've actually, funnily enough, I'm usually an Eddie girl, so I've got Eddie clicks and interchangeables as well as Eddie fixed circulars left, right, and centre. But I know that on the fixeds, they are longer shaft, but on the sets, it's a smaller shaft. So, and I noticed that these rosewoods look like they're the longer shaft actually, whereas the zings look like the shorter shaft. So, you tend to need 2.75, right, for the lighter. Right, no, they don't. No, and okay, that question I can answer, Michelle. No, they don't make them. And it's that's why we get the Novas in those smaller weights, and not the Symphonies. The Symphony only goes down to 3.25, I think, or could be 3, and they don't make them any thinner than that because of breakage. So I found that out, and that's why we get the Novas, but they've been out of stock. Yes, the Novas have been out of stock. So we are waiting to get some more of those Nova tips in on the smaller ones. So that's the reason for that. There you go. Right, I'm going to stop yabbering now because I've got like 1,000,001 things that I've got to get done before I go away. Have a great weekend. If you've got little people for the school holidays, enjoy and keep up the good work. I'm loving all the works in progress on Whippet over on the Speakeasy. It is just fantastic. Absolutely loving it. Keep those going. It is honestly so inspirational. I'm really enjoying the work that's coming on out there at the moment. So do keep that up. I will be back with the Skeinz Diaries. I think it will be the 29th of April, so you will get me before the end of the month. So I'll be back then. But until then, have a great time, and without me, I know you'll miss me. Oh, yeah, you will. Go on. Have a great time without me. But I'll be lurking. You might find me. I'll have a bit more time. You might find me lurking around on the interweb from time to time. So until then, I will talk to you at the end of the month, and have a great weekend. See you later. Bye.